Welcome to episode 25 of the Rebel Army podcast, the official podcast of Cork City Football Club, and we're back after a small little break. Yeah, we're back after a little break. That's probably more my fault, I think, than anything, but I'm joined as always by Aaron. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Stephen. How are you? How was the holiday?
I'm grand and refreshed.
Not too jet lagged?
A small bit. But we'll recover. We'll catch up to 5 hours. It's amazing. It always catches you on the way back and not on the way over.
You're fine when you're there, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the body just gets affected different ways or whatever.
Yeah, it gets hit twice or something on the way back. Yeah. I don't know.
But,
you're back anyway. Back into the mad world of Cork City FC over the last 2 weeks.
Like I'm sitting on the bus on the way to I think Magic Kingdom or somewhere like that last week in Disney, and the next thing I see this alert coming through. Cahill, my son, taps me on the shoulder. Dad, you see it? And I just got it on my phone as well. Seani Maguire resigns for Cork City. I mean, it must have been mad, was it?
Mad is an understatement, I'd say, to describe how the week went. To be honest, the week before we thought was chaos with Ruairí Keating signing back.
And then he had, the debut against Treaty, and it was a 1-1 draw and stuff.
Even the reaction to Keats coming back, like it was, I think no one saw that coming.
Yeah.
It caught a lot of people by surprise, which was like, it's always more impactful when that happens. The Seani one was a bit different because everyone was saying it and everyone was talking about it. But to be fair, people have been talking about it for about 3 years. I don't think anyone thought it would actually happen. And then it did, just like that. And the reaction, look, we all saw the reaction online. The numbers, our social media accounts haven't seen numbers like that in a while. Huge numbers, huge engagement from fans far and wide. There's supporters coming in with Cork City in the bio from countries and accounts that I'd never seen before, but everyone all excited to see Seani back. And that was the online reaction. I know you weren't there on Friday, but the reception they got.
I saw some of the videos, alright,
They came out of the tunnel for the warm-up. Like, this is literally just for the warm-up, a long time before kickoff. The place wasn't even full. The shed was full, obviously. That shed was full very early. But as they walked out, there's always a bit of a cheer or whatever. Yeah. This wasn't a cheer, it was a scream of yes. It was a celebration, like. And I got a video of it, put it up. And then Tim was in the tunnel and he kind of said, "That it feels like we scored." Do you know what I mean? Like, that felt like a goal was scored. You probably saw Rory did the bit of an introduction for the lads, a reintroduction, welcoming them home, and the place when that happened was, and that's when you were warming
up at the start, like, is it?
That was when they just finished their warm up, so the team had gone in. We kind of kept Seani and Keith back, brought them to the halfway line. Rory did his big announcement. It was goosebumps stuff, like, it was unbelievable. But yeah, the reception they got. Freed from Desire blaring on the PA system, the shed singing completely out of time with it, but it was still class. There's a bit of a delay, yeah. But it was absolutely class. And then again, I suppose the reception when Keith started, obviously, then when Seani came onto the pitch, it sounded like we scored another goal. But
the result probably, I know, like, it was a 0-0 draw, but the result was probably second in this kind of fixture.
It was more of the occasion, yeah.
The hype. People in there remember that moment, and they'll forget about the result afterwards. Yeah. You know what I mean?
In the grand scheme of things, the result. Isn't it very funny and ironic that we bring back two of our most prolific strikers? They scored all these goals, and it's 0-0. Like, it's just very Cork City. Like, it's very funny.
Strange one to be fair.
Yeah. Oh God, very funny. But hopefully it's not 0-0 this Friday.
Hopefully not.
Bigger game this Friday. Hopefully we get a couple of goals this Friday. It's a very different test to what we've had the last couple of weeks, but we'll talk about that a bit more in a while. But the reaction the two lads got on Friday, especially after the game, actually, there was a lot going on afterwards in terms of, we were doing the press with Seani. He hadn't spoken to the media or anything. Like,
he literally kind of come in that week. Like, did he?
He just came in that week. I think he came in on Thursday. I don't know exactly, but he hadn't spoken to anyone, so he was doing media after the game, first of all out on the pitch and then in the boardroom. It's funny, actually, all the young kids were kind of lined up either side of the barriers waiting for Seani to come out the door, and I took him around the pitch, up the stand and down the steps to the boardroom, and we managed to sneak in. Not one person thought to check behind them. Seani was behind them the whole time, but he did the press. brought him back through the away dressing room then and out to meet the supporters. And I actually got a video of it. Incredible. Like, this was a good hour and a bit after the game ended, and there was still a couple of hundred people outside. Like, it was, I haven't seen it like that in a long time.
And we're getting pictures and all that kind of stuff.
Pictures, selfies, yeah. People asking him for boots and jerseys and socks and anything. And to be fair to him, he was there. He spoke to every single supporter that was there, and he was happy to do it. Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, the buzz around the place since, first of all, when Keats came back, but now that the two lads are back, it's just been different the last couple of weeks, and we see it online. You saw it at the Cross last week, and it's just, it's exciting.
Had a field day with all the little graphics and all that kind of stuff as well. I've seen the kind of Wolverine type of stuff.
Churning out content for the 2 weeks. Yeah. Busy week, but busy 2 weeks, I suppose. But I enjoy it.
Yeah, but it's a rare kind of occasion that you get two forwards that have been so successful at the club to both join back at the same time in the space of a week. Like
when you bring back a player to the club like that, it's a bit like when Greg Bulger came back at the start of the season. There's just this buzz about bringing a player that was so popular and successful with the club back.
Yeah.
And then we did it twice more in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, funny enough, I saw a couple of tweets. We had announced Sean Murray, which, by the way, nearly got lost in all the excitement. That's a really good thing to get done.
Yeah.
We signed Sean Murray on a permanent on the Saturday, I think it was. And people were saying, if that's the only business we do, that's an all right window in my book. And the next day we followed up with Ruairí Keating. People are delighted. And then we followed that up again with Seani Maguire. And, like, it was almost like, oh, we're not done yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had another thing to come.
Big statement from the club. I mean,
massive statement.
Like, Seani, he's gone from us, 6 or 7 years at this stage. He left in 2017, wasn't it?
2017, yeah.
He's played for his country. He scored for his country.
Yeah.
He's played in the championship.
200 appearances in the championship or something like that, yeah.
So he has, he's played with Preston. He played with Coventry for a bit, then with Carlisle, I think, last season. He's a great player. I know there's a lot of pressure on him now, probably. That's the other thing. But it's just it's a big statement. It's like what a Prem team would do.
100%.
You know what I mean?
It's a big statement signing. Like,
expecting Shamrock Rovers or St. Pat's or someone like that to be doing, but we're doing it from the first division, and I think the fans, are really getting it. They can kind of see that there's a vision now.
Yeah, and just like on that, other clubs, including those clubs that you named, were in for Seani Maguire.
Yeah,
wanted Seani Maguire, and we beat them to it. He wanted to come to Cork City, and that in itself tells you where we are, and excites you for the next 12 to 18 months, whatever it is. But he said it himself actually afterwards. Like, you see players coming home from England when they're sort of, he didn't say over the hill, but you know what I mean, over the hill, like that they're past their best, where he still feels he's sharp and he has a lot to give, and he wanted to come home and be able to make an impact. He didn't want to come back when it was too late. Which, again, as a Cork City fan, remembering what he did for us in 16-17, that excites you a lot. And
we've had good examples of this happen before. Like, Colin Healy came back. Like, Colin Healy played, then remember he went to Ipswich, came back, and obviously was exceptional when he came back. George O'Callaghan the same, went over, came back. John O'Flynn went over, came back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've had people that have gone and come back, and they've been probably nearly better than the first time.
Well, if Seani Maguire ends up being better than the first time,
you know what I mean?
Here.
So there's definitely been some players, but it's been a while where we've had somebody playing across the water, and then they come back and they stay with us for a few years, and they're exceptional.
Yeah, well, by the sounds, I think, first of all, the contract he signed is a multi-year deal. I don't know how long exactly it is, but he's committed. He wants to be here for a couple of years, and as he said, he feels like he's a couple of years in him. So if we get that out of him, and he plays to the level everyone hopes he can and knows he can, then we're in for an exciting couple of years.
And I see his baby was at first ever match, because I see his wife Claudia.
I saw that,
So that's nice. The first ever match was Turner's Cross.
Yeah, nice full circle moment, isn't it?
Nice full circle. Like, so, back to the roots, back to home, I think is what he said as well. He feels like he's coming home.
He feels like he's at home. He actually said as well that he's so happy that, their son gets to grow up in Cork.
Yeah.
That they get to bring him home, raise him here.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Like it's funny. Like he's not a bit like Keats as well. When he was coming back, he's talking about coming home. These lads aren't from Cork, but they got such a welcome down here that it's like they're adopted Corkonians. Like this is their home.
Yes, they feel settled in there. Like
and it's ringing endorsement for the club and the supporters and the city as a whole, I suppose.
Yeah, I know, and it was great. Like, it was great to see a boost in the attendance as a result of it as well. So that's you know, you have well over 1,000 extra compared to the previous league match. You know, so that was, and I think that's only going to get bigger because lots of people like myself are probably away on holidays. You know what I mean? So you're going to take all those out of the equation.
Exactly. Everyone's coming back now, and if you look at the games they do have left, I think it's 4 home league games left, and we've got Derry this Friday, obviously in the FAI Cup, which is a big game. We'll have another big crowd for that. If we manage to beat Derry, then all of a sudden, if that's a home draw, you get a home cup quarter final, 4 home games in the league, where if you look at the table now, we're on course to win the league soon. Yeah. And also have a trophy lift night. Like, that's maybe 2 of those home games turning into very big games. So, yeah, you'd expect the crowds will be on a nice upward trajectory for a couple of weeks.
Well, I suppose the big thing, it was a 6-pointer in many ways.
It was,
like, you know, it was obviously a 0-0 draw, but if Athlone had beaten us, then all of a sudden you will get small.
Are you looking over your shoulder a little bit, I suppose? Yeah.
You know, so that the 15 point goes to 12 points.
Yeah.
They'd still had at that point a game in hand. That could have gone to 9 points, whereas they've obviously lost that game.
Whereas we finished 0-0 and then they went and lost the next game.
So no, it's 15, where it could have been 9.
It could have been 9.
It could have been obviously 18.
It could have been 18 again with level on games.
But we'll take the 15.
Something I noticed the other day, we haven't really had to look too much at goal difference because of the points difference, but you've seen the goal difference.
The goal is massive compared
32 to 5.
Yeah.
That's insane. 10 goals conceded is incredible. Like,
the defence, and we've said it a number of times, the defence between Brad and goal is a 17 clean sheets.
17 clean sheets, yeah.
Like, that's, you know,
that's incredible.
Unbelievable. You know, in fairness to him, like, and sometimes we'll all get excited, obviously, with the new forwards coming in, but credit where credit's due. The guys at the back have done an amazing job as well.
It's been incredible, yeah. And the best thing about it is, not only have they been defending really well, particularly the 2 lads at centre back, Keane and Charlie, they've scored a lot of goals this year as well.
Yeah.
They've chipped in at both ends, like.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. Charlie's one, obviously, last minute up in Treaty a couple of weeks ago, which was fun. It's always nice to get a 98th minute goal, isn't it?
Charlie's a knack at getting goals, to be fair to him.
I think I saw actually on Twitter that's Cork City's latest ever goal in a league game.
Is it?
I think so. 98th minute. Stato LOI, I think, had that up.
To be fair, in League of Ireland, you know, there isn't as much injury time as what you'd have in other leagues. Like, you know.
Well, funnily enough, there was 6 added in Treaty. We ended up playing 8 or 9. That was, I think, there was a couple of Treaty bodies dropping like flies there towards the end. So, that extra bit sweeter to get the late equaliser off the back of that. But
you might be regretting dropping like flies.
But they were doing it during the game as well.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone was within a 6-foot radius of Greg Bulger, they were hitting the deck trying to get him sent off. But nice ending to that one.
So did you catch up with Johnny for a few words during the week?
We did. We got him actually after the game on Friday night. As I said, he literally arrived in on Thursday, I think it was, or Wednesday or Thursday. And we just didn't even manage to get our hands on him. But this is what he had to say after the game. Stuff I mentioned before about how happy he was to get back and how it felt like home. It was just brilliant to hear.
I suppose when I signed, it felt like it was a no-brainer to come back, and I've always wanted to come back where I've a lot more to give. Yeah. I suppose a lot of players coming back to the League of Ireland, you know, mid-30s, you know, maybe a year left in them, but I'm only 30. I feel like, well, hopefully that my best years in the Cork jersey are still to come. And where the club are at now in the first division, hopefully in the Premier Division next year, that's what I'm going to build on and get back to the good times. I know it might feel like it was a long time ago, but it's only been, you know, 7 years, 6, 7 years.
Blink, yeah.
It has, and I feel like the club is going in the right direction in terms of that. Bringing myself a Keating, and there's really good young talent there around us. But yeah, tonight was, I mean, like, we're playing second in the league. It's I know it wasn't the most entertaining game, but it's another clean sheet, and I think it was, as the boys said, interesting there, 18 clean sheets for them, so it's it's brilliant. Like, and I mean, like it gears up for the big one next week, I suppose.
Tim said to me there that you were kind of, I suppose, discussing things. You said that you'd only come back to Cork City if you were coming back, so it just shows you the link that you have with the club.
Yeah, like I think people don't realise what the club actually means. I know I'm with Kilkenny-man and stuff. I only was there for about a year, at Cork for about a year and a half, but I've a deeper connection to the club than what I suppose, well, everyone probably knows now, but what everyone realises, and it's shown. Even when I was across water for the last 7 years, it hurt me to see the club, bounce in between the divisions and not be at the top where it should be, because I feel like when this place is packed and it's rocking, there's no better place to be in the country. You've seen that when we're here winning leagues and cups, and I feel next year when we do get into Premier Division, it'll be wide open. You see it this year, like Derry, Shells, Rovers, there's not much in it, and even in the 10 teams in the league, you see each team beating each other, so that's what you want to be gearing up for.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that in his voice. So you can't say he loves being back.
He loves it.
I'd imagine he'll thrive as well with the crowds singing his name, and
he will. But like that, even hearing that Seani's on fire chant, it's been a long time since we heard that.
Yeah,
and it felt like the entirety of Turner's Cross was singing it. It was something special last Friday. Like it was fun.
Yeah, and he's obviously been training this week.
He's been training. Yeah, he's been causing a stir online as well. There's quotes taken out of content, not taken out of context.
He said he wants to be the GOAT.
He wants to be the GOAT. He was asked about, to be fair, where the quote started. The question was sort of, you're coming back to the club as a legend, and it went from there. Yeah. It's not like, I saw a couple of David Brent memes, it's not like he walked into the room and was like, I'm a legend. That's not how it went at all. But he was basically saying, like, he's coming back. He is considered a legend by fans. That's a well-known thing. But you don't want to just rest there. Like, you want to kick on again.
The rest of all time.
Yeah, you want to kick on further again.
Yeah, because there's obviously a few in contention. The club is 40 years old this year. There's there's a few there. There could be a question on the night in the Opera House.
Who is the greatest of all time? Who's our greatest of all time?
There's a few of them on the stage.
Yeah, there's a few metrics you can measure it by: goal scorer, ability, appearances if they've been mainstays. Yeah,
big game moments. Like, they've all done it.
Yeah. Interestingly, actually, we're doing a thing in City Edition, the match program at the minute, where we're getting people's all-time 11s. So last week we had Benno's all-time 11. This week we had a couple of different ones. I think we had 4 or 5 in this week. It's always interesting to see.
Everyone has a different perspective.
Everyone, like, some are, heavily influenced by the last 10 or 15 years.
And some go way back then.
Some, the last 10 or 15 years, don't even come into the conversation. Yeah. It's an interesting one. But have a look at if you're at the match this week, or if you're getting it online. This week's City Edition has, I think it's 4 all-time 11s. But have a look at them. It's one that stirs up debate. We might do it here on the podcast someday, actually.
We should actually as well. We should probably ask people to let us know
people
who
that
they
are coming
think is their greatest of all time.
Well, do you know what? That can be our Spotify question this week. Send us in your greatest 11 of all time. We might, maybe next week we might have a chat about trying to figure out ours. Give ourselves time to think.
Yeah, no, there's a lot there. But look, I like his confidence as well, though. That has to be said. You have to be confident.
You have to be.
You can't come back after the reputation that you had before, the legacy that you've had in the past, and then kind of be sheepish.
Exactly.
You have to come back and say, like, I want to do more.
Yeah, he hasn't come back, here to pick up a paycheck. He's fired up. He wants to score goals. He wants a trophy.
Yeah.
Chances are we'll have the league trophy this year. He wants to win the cup.
Yeah.
They all want to win the cup, which is brilliant.
He got the league medal that time because obviously he played most of the season. He played kind of more than half the season.
Yeah, I'd imagine he did. I remember the cup final in 2017. Himself and Kev were gone at that point, but I vividly remember the two of them being on the pitch at full time.
Was one of them on crutches on the pitch?
I think you're right. I think Kev was.
I think Kevin was on crutches.
I think Kev was.
Yeah. I remember it. Yeah,
remember the two of them with their Cork City scarves running across the pitch. Yeah.
So
brilliant. After Campion's equaliser. What a day that was, by the way.
Oh, that was another great day. But obviously, it was only a few weeks ago, actually, we played, because obviously when we had Ruairí in with Philip Long a few weeks back, and we played that clip.
Yeah, the commentary
of Ruairí about Sean.
That moment, yeah.
It's kind of a weird coincidence that he's now back. Like,
it's mad.
We're
talking about full circle moments. Here we are again. Like, yeah.
So it's a brilliant. But we also said farewell to someone while I was away as well. I saw that Jayden is gone.
Yeah, Jayden's gone to Benfica.
I spoke too soon because on the previous podcast they said I saw him and hopefully
He'd be
he
back
was getting
soon,
back to
yeah.
fitness like in the next
Well,
team.
he'd be back to fitness soon. It just won't be with us, I suppose.
He's gone.
But it's nearly one of those open secrets. It felt like everyone in Cork has been talking about it for a long time. But that's a brilliant move for him. Like Benfica are a big, very
Massive.
big European Champions League club.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've produced some incredible players. Best of luck to him. Do you know, like what a move that is. His brother Franco is obviously at Palace. Scored the other day actually.
He did, yeah. And it looks like they're playing him in a different position at the moment. They're playing him on as a winger kind of or something like that, like a wing back. I think Franco was playing, but Jaden has an exciting career like ahead of him. You know,
once he overcomes this injury, if he can stay fit, like we've seen what he can do. Everyone has seen what he can do now. That's why he was such a hot prospect.
For a young kid from Cork to, go to somewhere like Benfica, who are they're like traditionally one of Europe's big clubs. Like Eusebio and all of that back in the 60s, and the Stadium of Light, and it's. I was at their stadium in 2018, saw them playing Ajax in the Champions League, and before the games, like they get this eagle or something that comes in, some sort of eagle or falcon. Comes in with something anyway onto your man's hand, so flies in out the stadium.
Stop. I've seen it. There's one on their crest, at the top of their crest.
Flies in and down onto the pitch, and that it's some sort of ritual that they do before the games. Yeah, I know we have a cat that runs across, but like they have,
or my hair if you listen to Danny Murphy.
But like, I think it was like it's about 50 or 60,000 seater stadium. Phenomenal crowds, like, and I mean, if he can make his way through their academy into their team, like,
incredible.
Unbelievable.
But you look at, this Brexit rule about kids not being able to move to UK clubs till they're 18.
Yeah,
that's brought across moves now. Like, Carl Heffernan went to AC Milan.
Yeah,
Matthew Moore went to Hoffenheim.
Yeah,
Jaden's gone to Benfica. Like, when do you hear of lads from Cork going to any of those? Lads from Ireland going to any of those three clubs?
No, it's amazing. And speaking of Cathal Heffernan, we haven't spoke about him much on the podcast, but he started to make his debut for Newcastle in pre-season, on the bench again the other night from. So you're wondering...
Did I see he captained one of their underage sides at one point?
He captained their underage sides, but the fact that he's now getting on the bench and playing a few minutes in pre-season, you wonder, is he in consideration to get on the bench for a Premier League game?
Yeah, and that's the main... Again, if you look at the players that have left our academy the last couple of years, and not just gone to those clubs in continental Europe that we've spoken about, but Cahill, who is now at Newcastle, Joe Brian Whitmarsh is at Southampton, played in their pre-season.
And they're also in the Premier
Leon
League.
Ayinde is at Ipswich, who has been promoted to the Premier League, and Kieran McKenna had literally name-checked him in press conferences saying he's playing him in pre-season because he needs to be ready if he's called upon in the Premier League.
Yeah.
These lads were all in our academy 2 or 3 years ago. Like, it's incredible. And Franco at Crystal Palace, of course. Like,
it's... and Marco Manni as well has been playing for Brighton in pre-season as well.
Yeah. If ever you needed to highlight the work being done in our academy, like, that speaks for itself.
Yeah, like, we seem to be producing lots of forwards and defenders, actually.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And obviously as well, I say the work by our academy. There's obviously the schoolboys clubs as well, who...
Obviously.
That's where they come to us from.
But it's I suppose it's like a football pyramid as well in terms of youth structure and the way you step up each level, and everyone has to start somewhere. It's not like in the rest of Europe whereby they have like under 7s and under 6s. I don't really know how that works.
Yeah,
but like
we're not there yet here anyway. Yeah,
you see some guy playing in the Premier League and they said he's been with us since he was 5. Like, how the hell is that? Like,
what kind of contract is that?
what happened there? Like, how do we even know he was that good at that age?
Yeah.
But it's they start with Lakewood up next to us here, or College Corinthians, or Youghal, or Greenwood, or Douglas Hall, or Ringmahon, or somewhere, and then they're on to the next.
Yeah.
And even I see Alan Brown knows with Sunderland, and he was playing for him in the Championship now, and we need to be proud of them as well, like, and it's exciting. And this week I spotted that the current bunch of academy, they're having a great day. They're all over Europe. So some of them were in Manchester and some of them were over in Spain, were they?
Yeah, there was a Spain trip last week. There's a Manchester trip this week. There's another one coming up in a couple of weeks' time. One of the teams are going over to play Liverpool and Preston.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of trips coming up. exciting. But
they only lost. So I think the under-14s only lost 1-0 to Manchester United's under-14s yesterday.
that was yesterday, yeah.
And they're playing Man City. We don't know the score.
They're playing
of that.
Man City tonight, yeah. But yesterday morning they played the United 14s. 1-0 loss. Like, obviously these matches results don't mean anything at all, but to get that result is a huge
what
achievement.
An experience to go to Carrington and all that and play. And
I don't know, was it Carrington or was it it was Littleton? I don't know, was it a separate place or what's the story? But
that's where the women's team play.
But even to be around those facilities, they did a tour of Old Trafford as well afterwards. I think that's an incredible experience for them.
And the other guys then, the older lads, they played Real Betis, was it?
Yeah, Betis and Sevilla.
Yeah, because they're both in that area.
They're both in the
Sevilla,
same, and I think they did a tour of the Betis Stadium as well. But like these are incredible experiences for the lads.
Brilliant. Like, what an experience.
Yeah.
You know, like, and like, it must be, they can see then, this is, there's a pathway for me, and they must get excited. And I know some of the lads went on to a video to wish the boys good luck. And
yeah, I just see that actually on the socials. Yeah.
So I know it was a Seani and Rory and stuff like that.
Keats, Cahill,
yeah. So like, it's great for the younger lads because they can see, there's a future for me in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a very clear pathway.
Yeah.
From 14. Look at, again, we're talking about Jaden Ume. He came in at under 13s.
Yeah.
Worked his way all the way up. And now is playing for Benfica. Funny enough, would still actually be eligible for under 17s if he was here.
Like, that's mad.
But worked the whole way up and is now at Benfica. You look at the other lads we mentioned. Jake O'Brien came in at whatever it was, 15s, played 17s, 19s, seniors, gone. Like, there is a very, very clear pathway there. They can put their head down and work towards it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and hopefully they get games with City first before they go anywhere. But but sometimes we lose them before they even.
Yeah, we don't even get a chance to enjoy them as players.
So the great thing is, and I think everyone will say it, it was fantastic to see Jaden as a 15-year-old. Playing for City and then scoring. Was he just turned 16 when he scored?
I think it was just after it was away to Wexford, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he had played as 15 and I think he scored. I think he was on his birthday or maybe a few days before or something like that. He beat Cahill's record, I think.
Cahill broke the youngest goal scorer record. Then Jaden broke the youngest men's team, obviously. Broke that again. So, incredible how capable they were as 15, 16-year-old players as well.
Yeah. And if you're a listener to this and, if you ever get challenged by people saying, but we've all been challenged over the past about, why'd you go to League of Ireland games or whatever or blah, blah, blah. The usual things say, I'm seeing the stars of the future as well. I get to see them before anyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. How many players, like the ones we mentioned there, that's been applicable to over the last couple of years and it will be again. And
you're getting the chance to see them, and that's fantastic to say. I remember seeing them when they were only, 16, 17 or whatever.
Yeah, and look at what they've gone on to do, type thing.
So I think that's really important. But he obviously had a few games as well. Did they? The academy over the last week. Did they play any league matches over there?
There was a couple of league games. Yeah, they've been a bit scattered at the minute. There's been midweek games and there's been weekend games and stuff like that. So last night the men's under 17s were away to Club Kildare. That one finished 4-0 to Club Kildare. The 14s, as we mentioned, played Man United yesterday. The 15s were away to Wexford on Tuesday night, I think it was. That was a 3-0 win. Then our women's under 19s on Sunday beat Shamrock Rovers 3-2. Had been 1-1 at half time, and then Kelsey Cooper and Grace Flanagan scored in the second half to make that 3-2. Christina Dring had got the first goal in the first half. She'd been playing down at 19s.
Speaking of the women, so obviously we didn't have a podcast last week, but since the last time, they had the cup match against Douglas Hall, the big rivalry, the local
derby, yeah.
Whoa, 9-0.
9-0, yeah.
Was
great
it
result.
5-0 after 20 minutes.
Something like that, yeah. It was 3 after 10 or 12 or something like that. It was either after 20 or 25, something like that. It was 5 anyway. But really good win, good result, confidence booster for them. Difficult one for Douglas Hall, obviously. There's a gap. Look, there's a big jump between your local leagues and your national league. There just is, and that's the way it is. It's not a disrespect to them or anything like that. It's just that's what the gap is. Look, the last couple of years we played Terranure last year. Same thing. I think we won that 5 or 6-0. Bonaghy the year before won that 7-0. 9-0. 3 players nearly got hat tricks. Danny took them off. I don't think he'll ever be forgiven for that. I think it was Kira Senna, Becky, and Eva got 2 each. And they all ended up coming off, I think. Robbo nearly made it 10 late on, but 10 would have been a nice round number. I was panicking at one point. I didn't know if the scoreboard would go to double digits. We haven't had to test that, but
I presume we have scored 10 before summer, have we? I don't think the men's
don't
team
know.
have. The men's team haven't. I think 9. I remember seeing a 9, I think, in a cup match one time.
There would have been at underage level, all right, but first team level, I don't know. That might be one for Jerry Desmond if he's listening to this.
Or you'd imagine it happens a lot in underage.
Yeah, it does, yeah. But obviously those scores don't make it out. But yeah, I don't know at senior level.
Yeah, we'll have to get on to Jerry.
Jerry, if Jerry, if you're listening to this, drop us an email, please.
What's the biggest score?
Yeah, but 10 would have been nice, but 9 is enough, I suppose. But that was the cup, as we said. So
the league was tough, though.
The league, 4-1 defeat to Shells at home. Do you know what though? It finished 4-1. It was nowhere. It wasn't a 4-1 game at all. Like there wasn't. I think it flattered Shells a lot. Shells had only conceded 2 goals all season before that, actually. So even scoring against them, like they're top of the table. They've got an incredible defense and defensive record. So getting a goal against them was nearly an achievement in itself with how their season has gone. But I think 2-1, maybe 3-1 would have been enough. I think we equalised with 15 minutes to go, and then there was a couple of sloppy goals late on. But yeah, by no means a 4-1 game. Una Foyle in goal again. We put up an incredible save that she made. There was a close-up clip of it. Great save. She's done that a couple of times, and nearly a couple of times in that game. Like you could have had like a compilation of the saves that she made. But yeah, disappointing enough, 1-4-1. But it's good as well in a sense that we're at the point now that results have been that good and performances have been that good that you can genuinely be disappointed to losing to the league leaders. You know what I mean? For a long time, we would have just been, you go into the game and you nearly know beforehand it's going to be a very long afternoon or whatever. But that's not the case now, and that's brilliant, and that's a testament to the squad that's there now and the work that they've all done, and Danny and James and all the coaching staff. But I feel like we've said that a couple of times this season, but there just is such a stark difference now to the last couple of years.
That's only going to get better too, I'd say.
Yeah, and like we're still, I think, 6th in the table. There might have been games since actually that shifted that, but defeat at Turner's Cross. No game now this weekend. We were meant to be playing Galway at home, but they're in the All-Ireland Cup final. So so no game for us this weekend. That game now is on Saturday, that final, and we're back at the Cross then next Saturday, which is Bows in the next round of the Cup after we progressed past Douglas Hall.
So could be still a cup run on the cards for the...
Hopefully, yeah. Like we've played Bows twice this season, beat them both times, home and away. That was the day we interviewed Doro Groilick in the shop, and she went on to score an absolute screamer. Yeah. So yeah, something like that again next week. No pressure.
Be all right.
Yeah, we'll take that. But that's why we are on the women's side of things at the minute.
Yeah, so I suppose we have a big cup match this week.
Yeah, touched on it before. Derry City, big one. There'd be a big crowd, I think.
Yeah, like, listen, we all know Derry are capable. Like Derry up at the top end of the Premier Division. Yes, they had a bit of an embarrassing defeat in Europe, I think.
Yeah, people are getting hung up on that, I think, but they're still very much in the mix to win the Premier Division.
And maybe that's why they got beaten. And
I get, if that is the case, are they that focused on the league that will potentially go in our favour on Friday? We don't know.
I'm trying to remember. When was the last time Derry won the league? It's a boy, I'd say.
Don't know, actually, yeah.
Yeah. They've always been in the mix. Derry are always a team that can
I know they nearly won it in 2005.
Yeah, obviously.
But that went a different direction in the end.
I'm trying to think when. I must look back on that. I know I think they won it in the 90s, but they've always been up the top half of the table.
Yeah, they've won a couple of cups over the last couple of years.
And they've been in Europe nearly more seasons.
Yeah, they've been consistently thereabouts. I can't think of the last time they won the league, to be honest with you. There's probably one now, like 2013 or 2012 or 13 that we're just forgetting about.
It's amazing how consistent they are, though, as a club.
Yeah.
If you think about, they're always up around the top, but they seem to, other clubs like ourselves in Dundalk, Shamrock Rovers, go up and up, kind of go back and then jump forward again. And
there's a bit of back and forth.
I know Shelburne are doing the same now as well. Whereas they seem to be floating around
they've stayed there. They've kind of been competing consistently.
Yeah. But never kind of dominating, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But a huge support base. I'd imagine with a summer fixture, they'll probably bring a bit of a crowd down.
Yeah, well, they've sold a couple of tickets, to be fair to them. I think there's, at the time we're recording this, there's 60 or 70 tickets gone, which is good.
Yeah. People use it as a little mini break in the summer, I'd say.
But you know yourself, when there's a big away crowd, especially on a big game, like a big cup game like that, it adds to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
There's a bit of back and forth between the fans and stuff like that, which is good.
I think our own shed loves it as well, to be honest.
Oh, they do, yeah. Sure, they have something to feed off then as well.
They miss not having big supports over in the corner. Like, you know what I mean? Having a bit, that's the one thing. Hopefully we're back in the Premier Division next year.
Yeah.
Because that's what you get when, especially the Dublin clubs coming down.
There hasn't been huge away support this year. Kerry on the first day, I always go back to this.
They had a huge support.
Kerry brought more people on the first day than a lot of Premier Division clubs bring for big games, which is credit to Kerry. But yeah, the crowds, the away crowd is something that is missing a lot from Turner's Cross this year. It obviously at the other grounds because the Cork City fans are travelling in numbers. But that's something that I think the City supporters and the players will kind of have to get reacquainted with as we hopefully go up next year. Because that will happen. And you know yourself, when there's a big game and there's whoever it is, Pats, Bows, Rovers, Shamrock, there'd be a big away support.
They all bring,
and they're on your back.
Yeah, even Galway bring a bit of a crowd.
They do, to be fair, yeah, and they have a really good home atmosphere as well up in Galway.
Yeah, you know, the odd time Waterford do depends.
Yeah, if it's a big game, if there's something at stake, they'll travel. But
not always though. Yeah. They're kind of hit and miss whether they bring a crowd or not. We bring a crowd to them, but
they don't return the favour.
Yeah. Then again, we probably bring a crowd to most places, except maybe
we do really. Yeah,
Buffet maybe it's a bit too far at times, but
unless we haven't been there in a while and then everyone wants to go.
Yeah, but no, like this is a huge game. You know, like obviously in importance. Getting promoted is the most important thing this year.
Yeah, 100%.
But after that, a good cup run is something that we all love to see as well.
Yeah, we had a good cup run last year.
Yeah,
and we ended up getting relegated. So if we can flip that this year and go the other direction, then
we got to the semi-final last year. You know, but maybe Malik will come up with the goods again.
That Wexford goal in the cup last year is the one everyone goes back to. And then so good.
And obviously, then he scored in the first round of this one as well, like for us, like, you know, so
another tidy finish actually,
you know, so maybe
he could be our little cup hero there.
Cup hero, you know, there's some players that do better in cups than they do in the league. You
Campion,
know,
Akil Campion.
Yeah. So maybe Malik will do it, and maybe he might be inspired by his brother got an unbelievable goal in the championship.
I saw that,
yeah. So
if you can replicate that a little bit, then
it just came up on my feed. Like
I saw Malik shared it actually.
Yeah. So you know. Maybe he'll try to imitate what his brother did, but it's going to be a big game. Have you spoke to people before it at press conference this week? Have you some? We did the press conference yesterday actually. Tim was again. He spoke all year about how big the club is and the support and stuff, and he kind of really hammered home about how, you know, we feel down here. Cork City is a massive club, and that's what we want to be competing with. We're 15 points clear. It's a good position to be in, but it's it's been parked, and Derry's the sole focus now for the lads. It's probably a game that they've been looking forward to since the draw was made, and it is testing yourself against the top players in this country, and one of the top managers as well. So it's one that we've been looking forward to the last few weeks, and now we've got an opportunity to go and pit ourselves and see how we are, and hopefully we can perform to a level that does our fans and ourselves proud as a club.
Yeah. Do you feel like when normally a first division against Premier side, we're talking about not so much a giant killing but a shock, but do you feel like Cork are in a good position now that it shouldn't be a shock, or is it still one?
Listen, I still think Derry are going to be massive favourites, and they should be winning the game. If you're looking at the league table in the Premier Division and you're looking at the First Division, there's a big difference between the Premier Division and the First Division, and certainly a bigger gap then between the top 2 or 3 in the Premier Division and the First Division as well. So listen, it would be a big upset, but
also there's still the mind frame down here that we are one of the biggest clubs in the country. City's a massive club, and we should be competing at the top level of football in Ireland. At the minute we're not, but it's certainly the thought in the background is where we want to get to, and this is probably an early indicator of them types of games and the pressure situations that this club players should feel at when they go onto the pitch, and we'll carry that onto the pitch on Friday, and if we do win, it'll give us more confidence then going into the next round of being in a cup quarter final, and hopefully if you get a good draw, you could be looking at a right chance to get into the Aviva.
Yeah, Tim is fired up, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's what you want from your manager and players, I suppose, ahead of a big cup game like this. You see the supporters online, everyone's up for it. So shaping up to be a big occasion, so hopefully we deliver on Friday.
You'd imagine Derry will be a bit nervous. They'll be expected to win.
Oh yeah, that's what Tim said there. They are favourites for this game.
They're
no matter
coming
what.
Down to
they're favourites
us.
for the cup, I think, actually.
You know, they're coming down to us, first division team that really, you know, maybe we haven't been tested to the same levels as what Derry have been tested recently. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, like this game on Friday is far and away our biggest test of the season.
yeah,
No
to
question.
see where we are. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but they'll also be nervous of the fact that we've went away and brought in 2 new forwards, just, you know,
Yeah.
which has hyped up the crowd as well.
Do you know what? They probably, when we signed Keats back, they probably would have been thinking, oh God, that's not ideal. And then you see Seani as well. They're probably double down now,
Yeah.
I'd imagine. But yeah, hopefully, we said it's shaping up to be a big occasion on the night. Hopefully it is. Hopefully, like, again, I keep going back to the atmosphere last Friday for in what really was a boring 0-0 draw. Like, if it's like that again for this, if not even better,
Yeah.
it's going to be incredible. And you hear people talk about, particularly when City are playing into the shed, that it's almost like they suck the ball into the goal towards them.
Yeah.
Like, that is a real phenomenon at Turner's Cross. Like,
No, it's fucking look. We've seen, you know, unbelievable moments before, where maybe we've been the underdog and all of a sudden we produce a performance. We've done
Yeah.
it even in Europe a lot over the years, and maybe now being the underdog in a domestic cup competition, you know, we might do it again.
hopefully, yeah, we love this whole us against the world, us as the underdog
Yeah,
type approach. And
with a goal from Seani and Keats, man.
imagine it, my God.
The shed will
You
break.
thought our social media was bad and annoying last
Yeah.
week. My God. Just imagine.
Well, it's interesting. It's not even what I noticed as well. Maybe it's just, again, maybe the way the algorithms work. Is it me or the League of Ireland and the FAI tweeting a lot about Cork City?
There. No, there. Everyone's talking about us. Off the back of the signings, off the back of the response to the signings. I know there was a lot of supporters of other clubs digging up quotes from Tim Clancy and
Yes.
getting slightly riled up. We'll say that. But no, everyone's talking about us and it's brilliant. Like, we are, if you look at the league account, there's a lot of posts about Cork City, about Seani, about Ruairí Keating. A lot of fans of other clubs are kind of not even replying to things, but privately talking about or giving out about Cork City, which
what's
is,
going on here, like,
yeah. Are we striking a bit of fear in? Maybe, I don't know.
maybe.
Hopefully,
Look, once
it's nice when people talk about us, isn't it?
it's do you know what? It's nice. Yeah, it's better to be talked about than not to be spoken about at all.
100%, yeah.
You know, that means that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I'd always say that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that means that you're a big enough club.
I always love when, particularly when people give out about Cork City online, or not give out about Cork City, but give out about what Cork City are doing, particularly if it's in a positive sense like this. And then you see the Cork City fans bite back and like, you're only jealous and all this stuff. I love that. And there's been a lot of that over the last week. So
Yeah.
I've just had the feet up scrolling through Twitter with the popcorn out over the last week or so. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it anyway. I'd imagine a lot of people have, but yeah, it's fun.
Before we wrap up, we have another bit of exclusive news about our live show and another guest. So people would have probably seen that we've announced Garrow and Morrissey already.
Yeah, and that Garrod's actually a guest that we've wanted to have in studio here with us for a while. But with work situations, hard to tie him down while we're in here.
Yeah.
So, what better way to do it than get him into the Opera House? He's going to be a brilliant guest. He has incredible stories from his time at the club, his time abroad, the trophies he's won at the club. But we teased over the last couple of weeks that we'd have 1 or 2 big announcements coming. We announced John Caulfield and Benno and Dave Barry, which was a big one.
Yeah.
And we have another big name now that we can confirm as well.
Yeah. Mr. Pat Dolan.
The Rebel Army himself.
You know, I mean, anyone that knows Cork City will know that what a big character.
He doesn't need any sort of introduction, really.
Pat
Like,
could
does
do
he?
the show by himself, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, Pat is likely to say anything.
May as well just cancel the rest of the guests, to be
You know,
honest.
they even get a warning.
Do you know what? We're probably not needed. Just give Pat the microphone. We can just go sit in the audience.
Yeah, what a character. And he really started that buzz in the early 2000s. Like,
Do you know what? I slightly a bit too young to remember that. And
yeah.
all I know is that this whole Rebel Army thing came from him. And I've heard stories sort of anecdotally about how he kicked off that era of the club. And to be honest, I'm genuinely looking forward to hearing from him. And
Yeah, he was a big man for kind of getting the media behind it and kind of all that. He was big into that, like, and hyping up every game, and of course the European runs we had with him and stuff like that as well, like in the Intertoto Cup and stuff like that. But he just, you know, he had a very, you know, attacking team as well at the time. Like, with he brought the likes of, you know, Kevin Doyle and stuff in, but you know, John O'Flynn was there, George O'Callaghan and all that. But you know, he didn't win the league, but he had
it was Richardson came in, actually.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Damien came in and, you know, won the league. But he built, I suppose, the groundwork. No, people might say Liam Murphy did it before that as well. But, you know, I would definitely think there was a style, there was a change in attitude. There was a confidence kind of came in or something like that. There was a, as they'd say nowadays, a bit of swag or something with the club. Like, there was definitely that. Like, there was all these new younger players that started to emerge, and they just went. You know, it was an exciting time to be a City fan. But Pat has been, you know, Pat was like doing analysis on RT and all that for years as well.
I remember that, yeah, because that's when I was younger, and I've said it before. The first game I kind of went to was the Derry game, but I would have watched a lot of it on TV and seen a lot of M&S and stuff like that, and he was a regular guest on that sort of thing, and that's kind of where I knew him from. I knew he'd been at Cork City, but like, that's kind of where I had been introduced to
he had a
Pat
weekly
Dolan.
column in the paper as well, but I don't know if he's still doing that or not. But yeah, he's a fascinating character. Like, and the fact that we have him and John Caulfield and Dave Barry, we have 3 different managers.
Yeah,
2 of them were former players as well. You know, and then you have captains and the likes of Benno and Garrod and stuff like that. And we still have another few
and a few
people
more to come. Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to be a great night. Like, it's the podcast, but it's the club's way of kind of looking back on 40 years of the club as well, which is, I think, I don't know how we're going to jam pack it all in, to be honest with you, but
Yeah, we're actually probably going to be pressed for time, really. Yeah.
They'll be throwing us out. It's
Yeah.
But do you know what? I think people should go enjoy it, and then, you know, it'll be over at a stage where they could still go for a few pints or whatever and have a chat with each other.
Exactly. Yeah, you
know
can
what I
reminisce
mean?
yourself as well, type
Reminisce.
thing. Yeah.
In a different environment to the usual match night environment.
Yeah, you're not sitting in Turner's Cross waiting for a match to start. Yeah.
So it's something different, and they'll probably see people they haven't seen in a while and all of that as well. So
Yeah, look, that's what it's all about. Like,
Yeah.
that's the purpose of it.
So you can get your tickets through the Opera House website. It's about 3 weeks from tonight, I think.
Yeah, it's not far off, actually. Yeah.
So it's
It's creeping up on us.
Yeah, it's the international window, I think, as well that week. You know, so
There's no Premier Division, so we do have a game. We're in UCD the next night.
We're away, aren't we? The next night.
Yeah, away to UCD.
But yeah, the Irish under-21s aren't playing in Turner's Cross.
No, they're in Dublin.
They're in Dublin.
They're back in the Cross later in the year, but they're in Dublin for this game.
So to be a nice opportunity to go and relive some brilliant memories of.
Take a
of the
stroll
past.
down
Yeah.
Rebel Army memory lane.
And there'll be viewpoints on the current era and the future as well, because that's
course,
important too. We can't always be looking back.
Yeah, we have to
So
look
we'll be
forward.
asking opinions on the future as well, and who better to ask than the likes of Pat Dolan and John Caulfield and stuff like that. Like, you know, like, and I know Alan Bennett's currently with the FAI as well, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of different Cork City perspectives, but also kind of broader football perspectives at the minute and where people are. Like, obviously, John is at Galway in the Premier Division at the minute, so a lot to talk about, a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and obviously don't forget the tickets are still on sale for the City Till I Die Laughing
At the Everyman. Yeah.
At the Everyman. And we were only talking about it a while ago to help fund more trips like the lads
for the academy. Yeah, that's the purpose of that event. Like we were talking about there how brilliant these trips are for the lads. And you see it if you look at our social media as well, there's a lot of videos and stuff, behind the scenes stuff. That's the purpose of these events. Yeah. Is to raise money so that the teams can do that, and that it becomes easier for the teams to do that more regularly as well. So yeah, that's on the 31st of October. So if you're free for that, join us at the Everyman. There's mentioned the lineup before: Andrew Ryan, Chris Kent, Emma Doran, Shane Todd, John Collery. Like that's gonna be class.
We pay a fortune to see them on their own, never mind.
Yeah, never mind the 5 of them together, yeah.
Yeah, so like that's going to be a great night. And we've obviously had Andrew on the podcast, and if you haven't listened to him, he's a gas character. Like,
go back and listen to that one, actually. He's chaotic, yeah.
And he'll have a great crack at that night as well. So I think, there's loads to look forward to. Obviously, the Derry game tomorrow night, but, we have no women's game this weekend. The academy will be playing a few games. When they come back, they might be jet lagged themselves.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. They might need a rest, yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you a funny story. It was actually over. There I was with my Cork City jerseys, put it on because I couldn't go out to the match. So last Friday, there I am walking through one of the Disney parks anyway. And this fellow out of the blue anyway says, "Hey, Cork." And I was like, what? So I was like, yeah, typical here now, this guy's after seeing. So he recognised the jersey and he said, "Oh, my father's from Cork." He says, "I've never been, but he says, I've looked online then and I saw it at the football club, so I recognised the jersey when I saw it." So it's amazing. And then, so that was during the day, and that night then I went to a Leagues Cup game. So a Leagues Cup is interesting. So it's the American teams versus the MLS teams versus the Mexican teams.
I've seen this actually, yeah. So I heard of it last year, yeah, when Messi went to Inter Miami, and that's when all the eyeballs were on it. Yeah.
So Orlando City were playing Cruz Azul, which would be a fairly big Mexican team. And there was, to be honest, there was more there supporters there than Orlando, I'm sure. But there I am anyway, inside with my City jersey still on, because I had gone from the park, got an Uber over to the game,
match, yeah.
and there I'm inside in the shop and say, "It's a bit different from the shed," this fella says to me. So I look, there's an old guy, Shamrock Rovers fan, and all his family, they came for the same reason. He says, "We saw that there was a match on, so we bought tickets." And I just thought, isn't that? So we had a conversation inside in the shop for Orlando City, and we were talking about the League of Ireland
and the shed.
Unreal. And he was saying, they were hoping that City come back up as well. They said, Cork needs a big club in the Premier Division. And, we like the old trips down to Cork and stuff like that. Yeah. And I just thought, isn't that brilliant?
That's mad.
You know, small world.
Very small world, actually, yeah. But, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's my little holiday story. But
class.
So City travels everywhere. You know?
City are massive.
Yeah, City are massive. When you get recognised all over the world. But
that's unreal.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll become even more famous when we beat Derry in the cup. But
hopefully when we get this cup run going.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get promoted as well in the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully. But very busy couple of weeks coming up, hopefully.
Yeah. And we definitely will have a couple more guests join us in the studio. It's been a bit chaotic in the last couple of weeks, but we will be getting more into the...
Yeah, we can, I suppose, spoil it here that we will have Seani in at some point. We will have Ruairí Keating in at some point.
We will, definitely. We need to leave them bed down a bit first so they can have something to talk about as well.
To be fair, I'm pulling them in all these different directions. We've had interview requests from here, there and everywhere. We need to... They're both moving back to Cork with young families. Like, we need to give them a chance to settle as well.
Leave them settle.
I'd much rather they get a goal or two than they come and join us on the podcast already. So.
Oh yeah, and before we go as well, isn't there a new thing now with the website that you can predict something?
Yeah, we've been doing that the last couple of weeks actually. The score predictor. So the first week we did it, we tried it for the Treaty game. There's going to be a prize every week for this, by the way. So we put it up on all of our social medias the day before a game. So we'll do it on a Thursday evening. You basically click the link, predict the score, and if you're right, you're entered into a draw to win the prize. So the first prize was a pair of tickets for this Friday's game. Last week's prize was a signed Seani Maguire jersey, and we did actually have a winner. Some people did predict 0-0 against Athlone somehow. Won't tell you who one of them was, but anyway, he'll know when he hears this. But this week's prize is actually, I think this is a cool one. It's a signed League of Ireland match ball signed by the whole squad.
Whoa!
So that's a class prize.
That's class.
But yeah, you'll see it on our social medias. To enter, you have to click the link and do it in the link. We're still getting loads of replies and comments. They don't count.
Follow the instructions.
Exactly. It very clearly says in the post, click the link. So stop commenting your score predictions. But yeah, that's a new thing. That's going to be happening now for every game. The aim is to have big prizes up. They could be anything from match tickets to merchandise. Might give away a couple of tickets for the live pod, the live comedy gig. But yeah, you can add that into the sort of weekly match day content, pre-match content. Yeah, keep an eye out. They're open right up until kick-off. They close just as the game starts. So if you're coming towards the end of the game, don't think you're smart trying to predict the score when you can already see the score. It'll be closed. But yeah, that's a new weekly thing, and it's a bit of fun. People seem to be enjoying it. We're getting a lot of entries, which is fun. So that's good.
And I just remembered another thing as well. I saw Matthew putting it up on LinkedIn or somewhere there. I think the Golf Classic is coming up in... Is it Lee Valley?
Lee Valley, yeah, just over the road from us here.
In a few weeks' time.
21st of September, yeah. There's places available for that if you want to play, if you want to sponsor, if you want to volunteer and help out. You get in touch with Matt or Anthony, commercial@corkcityfc.ie, and they'll have all the info for you.
Brilliant. And actually, it was so funny. I got a message for our last podcast. I mentioned one of the sponsors in the last podcast, and they obviously heard it because we didn't tag them in a post. And the lads in West Cork Coffee said thanks for the mention on the podcast. So they must be listening again. So we give them 2 mentions.
Another shout out. Yeah, another shout out for Tony and the lads down there.
So I think they gave you coffee as well.
They did actually. Yeah, they looked after me. They sent me up some coffee. So yeah, another shout out for them.
Yeah, another shout out from. But no, it's great to see that. There's sponsors there. I saw actually. Matchball last week was sponsored by a company who had sponsored already earlier in the season because I saw their picture twice.
Ecotech, yeah.
I think
that's their second one this season.
They were saying one their the son, I think, is a big City fan or something like that.
He's in the shed, that's Dara on the drum, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great to see.
100%, yeah, it's
and
brilliant.
you can see them all, the family on the pitch and stuff like that. So like if you're listening and actually we were only talking to a couple of guys there and the memories a few weeks ago, and they were saying the same with their company. They sponsored the club over the years. That's your opportunity as well. Maybe whether it's the Golf Classic, whether it's, even buying a couple of tickets for the staff to go to the podcast or to the comedy gig. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved in the club.
And look, if you do have, this is something Anthony and Matt have been very, it's part of what they're doing. If whatever your budget is, get in touch. You can have a package tailored for whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you do want to get involved in any way, again, commercial@corkcityfc.ie.
You might even want to sponsor us.
Look, we'll take anything. Give us a t-shirt or a hoodie, we'll take that. We'll give you a shout out.
We'll take coffee,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, there's loads of opportunities at the club, from the overall club to men's first team, women's first team, digital online stuff, academy stuff, amputee team. There's loads,
and they might even come up with an idea themselves. Yeah,
100%. I think we're open to suggestions and to proposals as well.
They're saying that's how other clubs around the world do stuff. So why shouldn't we do the same?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So until next week, let's hope we come back with a positive result, and
hopefully we're still in the cup this time next week.
And the road to the Viva. But
as we mentioned earlier as well, let us know in the Spotify question your all-time City 11, and we have a week now to go away and think about. We can have our own 11s.
Who do we think should be in now?
Yeah, and we can
be definitely a good one for next week. All right.
Yeah, that can be our little prompt for next week. Now that we have our 11s ready, whoever the guest is next week. Last time for an 11, we put them on the spot and asked them for an all-time 11 as well.
Yeah.
But
we have to be careful because we could annoy the people that are coming into the studio in the future if they're not in the list.
Yeah, we'll edit, so we can go back and edit things and stick them in.
we'll be sitting.
We change it once a week.
We'll be mentioning everyone who has yet to appear.
Yeah, we'll be like Cork City in 2018. We'll have a load of right backs. We'll have a load of different defenders and right backs. Yeah.
So until then, we'll enjoy the game, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.